Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Excoundrel here. We are going to be talking about the new season artifacts today because there's a lot of them. A lot of artifacts to play with loads of new passives to talk about, and in general, lots of new uses for these artifacts. There are 8 artifacts in total in the new season compared to the 6 that we had originally. The first thing that, oh, by the way, if you would like to subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot to me. I'm doing really well on the channel so far, and I'm really proud of how far we've come in just the sort of the month and a bit that we're running the AFK Journey channel. So if you'd like to subscribe, I'd be over the moon, guys. So first of all, I want to show you that, okay, the old artifacts can cap at level 10, and whilst they still have their uses, the season is going to incentivize you to use the new artifacts. And the reason being is, look at my power level. When I switch between the old artifacts, it does not change. Okay, so all of the old artifacts are designed to give you stats that are equivalent in terms of power level, which is why your power level does not change when you use the old artifacts. Level 10 on the new artifacts is exactly the same, but when I switch to a level 11, you'll notice that my power level goes up, and that is because the game is incentivizing us to use the new artifacts. So once you get these artifacts towards level 20, you are going to have a much higher power level, and you really won't be using the old artifacts that are out of season at all, to be honest with you. Let's start off with Lightheal Spell. This is a pretty simple one. Its closest comparison is Awakening Spell, and it pretty much does the same thing, but a little bit more focused. You get straight up Vitality, Physical Defense, Magic Defense, and Attack, compared to just Attack, Physical Defense, and Magic Defense here. So you're going to get slightly less Physical Defense and Magic Defense, but you get the Vitality to boost. So what this means is your effective HP is going up. If anyone knows what EHP means, basically your effective HP is how much damage it takes to actually kill you, and you have to take that into account with your physical defense and magic defense. So usually the best way to increase your effective HP is not to just go all in on health or all in on defense. It's to have a mixture of a health going up and attack and defense going up at the same time. So this is going to increase your effective HP. You've also got to note that essentially you will overtake, obviously, as you level up, the magic defense and physical defense that Lightheal Spell provides. So the TLDR of Lightheal Spell is that once an ally drops below 50%, they will get an immediate heal buff, followed by a heal over time and another increase in their physical and magic defense. So essentially, once someone drops below 50% HP, they'll get a big heal, and then they'll get a heal over time. And this heal over time goes up the more that you level it up, and then you get a unique passive where if you stay below 50% HP, it will extend the heal over time for another 3 seconds. It's really good for 2 reasons. It's an immediate heal for your tank. So let's say you're running Thorin, he takes a load of beating in the front line. Running Lightheal Spell will give him a huge heal over time that will help him sustain. Also, kind of acts like a mix between Awakening Spell and Ironwall Spell, in the sense that you'll get a focused defense buff and also a heal over time. It's also very good against assassins. So let's say there's a Valor or a Sylvina, they jump to your backline, they immediately take one of your carries below 50%. That carry will get at least a 50% heal over 3 seconds, which should sustain them for long enough for your team to react, or for like your Arden to apply Entangling Roots or whatever, right? Pretty simple. There is nothing fancy about this spell. It has a generally good use case. And by the way, I am going to do a tier list at the end of the video for all of the new artifacts, and to tell you exactly what they're good for. I won't show you this in action because ultimately it is pretty straightforward. Crescent Spell. Now this is an interesting one. Probably most similar in terms of stats to the Blazing Spell, which was this one, in terms of defense penetration, because not many artifacts actually offer defense penetration, right? Grants you HP and attack as well. So what happens with this one is it conjures an orb above your character. The more damage your team does, the bigger the orb grows, and eventually it will throw the orb onto a tile where the most enemies are gathered, dealing magic damage or dealing damage, but most importantly, reducing magic defense of those enemies. Okay, this is interesting. So this spell is absolutely perfect for the Eironn Carolina comp or the Eironn Alsa comp, right? I'm going to show you just a little comparison because, you know, there was a thought in my mind that, hey, Alsa is going to stack this quicker because of her rock drop ability that she gets right at the start. So, you know, maybe Alsa's better in this regard. But when you actually watch it in practice, the difference between Alsa and Carolina is not that big. So if you watch this now, boom, orb stacking, orb stacking, orb stacking. The rocks drop, huge amount of damage comes down, and there's the orb about to go now at 81 seconds, right? And I'm going to just retry just to show you now with Carolina. Now, the thought is that Carolina is a little slow compared to Alsa. Her damage is not as immediate, but I just want to show you that the difference is actually relatively minimal. So we've got damage coming down, the snowballs get the impact, and we're about to drop it at 81 seconds, basically just after it hits the ground, and Carolina still does the job. Her ult comes through, and boom. And Carolina isn't even Supreme Plus, still excellent. This is by the way, this is why I don't think Alsa is necessarily an unbelievable addition for this comp. They're both good. They both fulfill the same role. There is a world where you run Alsa and Carolina, and I have seen that done, but I just think not running Arden is a bit of a mistake because of the amount of like team-wide CC he provides. But I mean, running it with Alsa is almost identical. Alsa pretty much does exactly the same thing, which you can see here. The only thing about Alsa is she becomes a little bit more single target focused, and obviously gets them right into the middle of the fight, which can sometimes be a good thing and a bad thing. But both of these carries do practically the same thing, and both of them work with this spell incredibly well. You'll find there is a minimal difference in terms of when this spell actually gets applied. Maybe in PvP, but you know, like both my Alsa and my Carolina are dealing practically the same damage. Which is why I'm telling free-to-play players it's not the most important thing in the world to go for. It's not the most important thing in the world to go for Alsa, because Carolina, if you've already been building her, practically does the same thing. But it's a great spell. Next one is Quickblade Spell. So essentially, you get attack, you get crit. It gives you crit. It gives you physical and magic defense as well, so you get a little bit of bonus for your tanks. And essentially, 4 seconds into the battle, deals physical damage that equals 60% of the team's attack and stun them for 1 second every 12 seconds. So from 4 seconds onwards, it will do it. And then every 12 seconds, it will do the same thing. It then inflicts smite for 50% of that time. So there's a 50% uptime on this, which reduces the physical damage of the enemy hero by 30%. And you can see that it can then also target another enemy doing the same thing. So essentially, it targets an extra foremost enemy dealing reduced physical damage equal to 40% of the team attack, but it won't reduce their physical defense. That's only for the foremost enemy. Now, the obvious use case for this is in the Dream Realm, or bosses in general. I have got rank 15 using Quickblade Spell and using Odie. I know Odie is not physical damage. I just don't have another like single target physical damage unit that would shine as well as Odie. I guess I could try with Valor here, but I don't think I'll end up doing more damage, just simply because Odie is such a beast in terms of basically just such a beast in terms of direct damage to the bosses. I actually could probably switch a few units around and get some levels up, but I'm going to just show you now. I will show you with Odie if I don't perform as well. I'm just trying with Valor for the light bearer buff and also for the physical damage. So we're going to get the smite that happens once every 12 seconds, and it's the uptime is for 50% of the time. You can see it there. It's just dropped off, comes back. Another one's there. So the debuff kind of floating in and out at the moment. That's really nice. We've got a really nice Odie buff going on. Valor's probably going to die here, which is perfectly fine. Smokey's beasting it out right now. I think I'm ultimately going to probably run it with Odie. Either way, though, like I'm getting pretty close to my max damage dealt. Don't know what my max damage dealt is, actually. Oh, wait a second. I actually beat my max damage dealt. Okay, right. So Valor, in this case, outperformed Odie to an extent. 246 million, which puts me at rank 13. I'm up 2 ranks. So there you can see, excellent spell for single target physical damage. Great for things like Marilee, Corin, even Valor in this case. So that was absolutely fantastic. And it's just it is the kind of the boss killer artifact. So that's what you need to know about the Quickblade spell. Stormcaller Spell casts a powerful spell at specific times after a battle starts. Deals magic damage equal to 27% of the team's attack to all enemies 10 seconds into a battle. Deals physical damage 50% of a team's attack to all enemies 30 seconds into a battle. Restores 40% of max HP for all allied heroes and deals true damage to all enemies that equals 36% of their max HP 50 seconds into a battle. the damage dealt is capped at 120% of team's attack. Second cast increases the physical damage dealt. First cast increases the magic damage dealt. So basically, this is kind of a stall spell. So if you can stall out, it does a huge burst of damage. If you have a comp that's kind of designed to be a bit more stall heavy, the Stormcaller Spell can work. Or if you are in a fight that you know is going to go a little bit longer, so for instance that you're running one of these hard levels where you know that OD is just going to have to keep stacking up over a number of seconds, then this is going to be fantastic for that. But if you're running healers or you're running kind of stalling spells, Stormcaller could come in useful. For me, it's going to be like a PvE clear thing, or it's going to be useful in PvP where you know that you're going for a stall type strategy. Otherwise, I don't think it has any particular benefits that outweigh the others. For instance, I just feel, I look at it as a worse version of Starshard Spell, ultimately. That's every 3 times in allied ults, you're going to get a flame wave that deals true damage equal to 16% of the target's current HP and up to 60% of team's attack. And that's every 3 ultimates that you cast. Whereas like this is once at 40 seconds, you get 36%. So this is only twice as good as a Starshard Spell wave, and you get it once at 40 seconds. I know you get the healing as well. This to me just doesn't feel as powerful as some of the other relics, or as immediately useful as some of the other relics. So have a look at Thunderbolt Spell. This is haste and HP. I don't know if these you're going to get any extra. No, it looks like it could just be haste and HP. Unleashes the lightning storm when allies cast a total of 3 or 10 ultimates, striking enemies with lightning 6 times within 2.5 seconds. Each enemy can only be hit up to 3 times during a lightning storm, with when hit, dealing damage that is capped at 55% of the team's attack. The first storm, each lightning strike deals true damage to the healthiest enemy that equals... Wow, that's insane. Reducing their energy on hit. Second storm, each lightning strike deals true damage to the weakest enemy. So... just to put into context, 10 ultimates shouldn't be too difficult to achieve, especially if you're running like an Eironn comp or you're running Rowan in the fight. So that, you know, there's a lot of potential true damage that can be done here. And essentially just increases the number of strikes and each lightning, as well as the lightning storm stuff. And at level 20, it's also 30% of the target's lost HP, which is kind of crazy. This to me feels like it could be really strong. It definitely is in the realms of a very heavy burst, so you're looking to rush 10 ultimates as quickly as possible. Realistically, the other option is, again, I'm going to sneeze. The other option is that you kind of stall it out, because this is a very powerful second effect. It gets better the more that you level it up. Obviously, haven't had the chance to do it yet. You can see that it comes from coming soon, so we won't even have access to this just yet. But this to me feels like it could be extremely powerful. And I would put it in the realms of something similar to Crescent Spell. Crescent Spell is bolstering your team's magic damage, whereas Thunderbolt Spell is kind of doing a lot of the work for you. And essentially, each enemy can only be up to 3 times. So it strikes enemy with lightnings 6 times within 2.5 seconds. So a little bit like an Ardent ultimate, for instance. And each lightning strike deals true damage to the healthiest enemy. So basically, you know, 6 strikes are going to deal damage to healthy enemies across the enemy team, and obviously it just gets better and better the more it goes. So this feels like it's going to be quite a powerful spell, and I think is going to work in either a ultimate rush comp, so you're going to run like a Rowan style comp with a lot of AoE abilities, a lot of lockdown. I can see this working very well in an Eironn comp as well. Eironn's ultimate is immediate. Arden's going to generate energy by having people CC'd. Alsa is going to cast her ultimates frequently. This could work really well with an Alsa comp as well, because Alsa does cast her ultimate a lot. She generates energy quite quickly once she's cast for the very first time. And I think with Alsa, Arden, and Eironn, you can get 3 ultimates cast extremely quickly. The only caveat is that 10 ultimates doesn't tend to happen a lot. You very rarely get fights that you're able to get 10 ultimates out. The only other way to look at this is potentially using in an OD comp, but by the time the OD gets his resets, you're probably not going to need the Thunderstorm that much anyway. So the caveat that I'll put with this spell is it looks strong on paper. It's just about how realistic casting 10 ultimates is. Casting 3, pretty good. But is that better than just reducing their magic defense and doing an AoE splash? I just don't know. And also you get better stats overall. You get haste and HP from this, whereas Crescent Spell gives you attack, defense, penetration, and HP as well. So, you know, swings and roundabouts with this one. Could be good. We'd need to test it, obviously. But on paper, I like it. It's just about casting 10 ultimates. Cascade Spell. During the first 4 seconds of battle, increases 100 energy per second for a rearmost allied hero. All debuffs inflicted on this hero will be dispelled when their energy hits full for the first time. The amount of energy gained is just increased. Increases the hero's attack by 20% for 8 seconds upon reaching full energy for the first time. So this is very similar, super similar to Enlightening Spell, but instead of attack speed, it's just energy generation. So in this case, this is for a hero that has a particularly high impact ultimate. So I'm thinking things like Cessia, things like Florabelle. I'm thinking things like potentially even Carolina if you put her to the back of the Eironn composition. Because she's generally quite a slow ultimate caster. So yeah, I think like there is potential for this, but again, this feels quite niche. I often feel like the hyper carry focused artifacts have very niche use cases. And in this case, again, when it's only impacting one hero, there is no physical defense, there is no magic defense. I feel like this is not going to be as good. It just depends if we end up having a hero that would make good use of that energy, and for me at the moment maybe not. And then you get that from the season growth pass. But yeah, my gut take is that, you know, the most obvious comparison is Enlightening Spell, and that was only used in PvP when you wanted to avoid a Valor, for instance, or as a counter to Confining Spell. So it's just worth noting that that's kind of a similar to the Enlightening Spell. Don't know if it'll be that useful. I think the others just feel more useful. I think that in general, team-wide impact artifacts are much better than single hero focused artifacts, just from the evidence that we've had so far in the game. Dashing Spell grants with attack speed, HP, and attack. Grants a blessing to all allied heroes when a battle starts, and every 20 seconds afterwards, increasing their attack speed by 20 for 7 seconds. An increase is the attack speed and follow-up skill cooldown to 17 seconds, so it'll be every 17 seconds there afterwards. Yeah, I mean, look, this could be potentially another pretty good Dream Realm boss relic, you know, because those fights do tend to go all the way to the end. There are very few fights, in my opinion, where like flat attack speed is going to make a massive difference. The only way I see this being super useful is in like an OD based composition. But ultimately, I don't see this potentially being as useful as some of the others. For me, right now, the most useful are Crescent and Quickblade. I think Stormcaller is niche. I think Lightning Spell is very mid. I think Thunderbolt Spell could be really good. I think Cascade Spell is niche. And I just feel like Dashing Spell is, again, a little bit niche. However, it is a team-wide blessing. Attack speed also means you're all going to cast your ultimates more quickly. But it just... You often feel like the artifacts that don't have immediate impact tend to get outclassed by the artifacts that have immediate impact. And the reason that I say that is that AFK Journey and AFK Arena, to an extent, are all very kind of like burst orientated, right? A lot of what you do is done in the first 10 to 15 seconds, especially in PvP. There is definitely some cases where you have PvE battles that get elongated, and for instance, Dashing Spell is probably competing with Quickblade Spell in terms of what you're going to use it for in Dream Realm. So let's say that you're not, you know, for instance, we know that Odie is great single target, but he's magic damage. Marilee is a lot of true damage. Corrin is a lot of true damage. Increasing their attack speed might be a much better DPS increase than just straight up doing some physical damage reduction to the enemy, to the boss. So this could be a potential for a Dream Realm artifact, that's for sure. Single target, and that's coming soon as well. So we don't know where that's coming from just yet. Evocation Spell. 3 seconds into a battle, and this is from story quests. Summon a Mauler Spirit every 12 seconds in sequence, empowering all allied heroes in the battlefield with its unique strength. Bull. Grant a shield that absorbs damage equal to 45% of the team attack for 4 seconds. Lion. Increase attack by 25% for 4 seconds. Bear. Increase life drain by 30 for 4 seconds. And Wolf. Increase haste for 40 for 4 seconds. The effect duration is increased. Reduces the skill cooldown to 10 seconds. The effect duration is increased to 6 seconds. So 3 seconds into battle. So you're going to get, in order, you're going to get a shield at 3 seconds. You're then going to get a attack boost for 4 seconds at 15 seconds. At 27 seconds, you're going to get Life Drain. And at 37 seconds, and so on and so forth, you're going to get Haste. That's really interesting, and I could not tell you if I think that's going to be good. I generally think these type of incremental buff spells tend to be a little bit less useful. And I feel like, again, this may not be super strong. I will say 25% attack increase is big. So you'll suddenly get a big best effect. But the problem is there is no way of guaranteeing that the stat that you're going to get is going to be useful at the point that you're using it. You know, maybe if you say, hey, when the Lion buff comes up, I'm going to use all my ultimates. So I'm going to get a massive increase in ultimate damage when the Lion buff comes up. And then, the Life Drain comes up and we're going to get all our health back. And then the Haste comes up, so we're going to regenerate our ultimates again. To me, like, the shield is useful, obviously, but it's only 45% of the team attack, so it's quite a low shield, realistically. And then 25% attack, and that is going to be at 15 seconds into the battle. At that point, like, you probably needed to have used a lot of your ultimates, otherwise you might just be dead. So I don't think you can guarantee this spell is going to get you the right stats at the right time, and I think it's going to be, again, one of those niche cases, or maybe one of those cases where it'll be useful in a Dream Realm situation. But I don't see this outshining straight up attack speed that boosts itself over the course of a fight, or just the Quickblade Spell, which gives you crit as well. So yeah, for me, maybe not a super important one, but I definitely love the idea of it. I'm just not entirely certain it's going to be as good as some of the other spells that we already have access to. But again, some of this is speculation. Obviously, have not been able to test all of these spells so far. I've only been able to test the 4 that we've got at the start, where my 2 favorites are obviously Crescent and Quickblade, which brings me on to our tier list. So shall we do it? All right, so I'm really sorry that the pictures are just not good enough. I had to get them from my client because I couldn't find them anywhere else. So I will just tell you the one that I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. Okay, so for me, the clear S tiers right now are going to be Crescent Spell and Quick Draw Spell or Quickblade Spell. These to me feel like the best in class in terms of what they do. So obviously Crescent Spell is fantastic for a very meta Eironn composition right now. If you're not running the Eironn comp, then maybe the Crescent Spell efficacy drops off, but it's definitely something that most of us should be aiming for. Then we have the Quickblade Spell, which to me, as of right now, is an absolutely fantastic single target artifact for Dream Realm bosses. Then we're going to have the Lightheal Spell. I think Lightheal, it to me, it's like decent. Like, you can't go wrong with a Lightheal Spell, especially on tough stages. But I don't think the Lightheal Spell is particularly good at anything other than just being, a pretty good catch-all spell. In terms of Stormcaller, I don't rate it. At least right now, I don't particularly think it's that good. I think, it's too slow in terms of what it does. And it doesn't exactly deal like a massive amount of damage, in my opinion. Then we have the Thunderbolt Spell. And this is just purely based on speculation at this point, but I think the Thunderbolt Spell could be pretty good. In fact, actually, I might move Lightheal Spell down slightly, because again, I don't think it's like insane. I think the Thunderbolt Spell could be pretty strong. I think Cascade, which, to make sure I get this right, because I can barely see, I think Cascade could also be pretty strong as a Dream Realm boss artifact. Other than that, I think we'd need to test it to see if it really shines in that sense. And then we have, let's have a look. The Dashing Spell, Cascade Spell. No, what am I talking about? Cascade Spell is the wrong one. Dashing Spell is the one that could be pretty good. Cascade Spell is the one that is like more single target focused, and I just don't see that being super strong because, well, let's say it's probably better than that one. And then I have the personally the Evocation Spell, which I think is probably going to be the worst of the lot. Just because I just don't think you can time the usefulness of the buffs, and they're all so like they all do different things. There's no like clear guide and a clear focus for that artifact. So this will be my current rating for the artifacts really quickly at the end of this video. I'm definitely using these two as a primary. I will occasionally use Lightheal, but I don't think it's like an insanely good artifact. I just think it's decent. Do you know what? Actually, no, do you know what? I'm being harsh. I'm going to put Lightheal Spell up here. I think Lightheal Spell's good. It's a little bit like Iron Wall, where there is definitely use cases for it. So, yeah, I'm going to put it there. And that would be my final tier list. That's it. There you go. That's my final thoughts on tier list. But again, this will all change. This is my first gut instinct impression, and at least I've showed you the 2 clear use cases for Crescent and Quickblade, because they are both very good. Cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.